This is Andrew Klavan on The Culture. Goodness gracious, glory be. It's time for another episode of Talkin' Crap, starring President Barack Obama as a person who talks a lot of crap. This one's a special healthcare edition. We'll call it Talking Crap 2. This time, it's crap. Now, many people have called President Obama an eloquent speaker, but this president's eloquence differs from that of famous speakers of the past, where leaders like Abraham Lincoln and Winston Churchill used well-crafted sentences to describe ideas, facts, and events. President Obama has developed the revolutionary technique of uttering lofty phrases that have no actual reference points whatsoever in the real world. For instance, when Churchill told the British at the outset of World War II that he had nothing to offer them but blood, toil, tears, and sweat, he meant the Brits were going to have to bleed, work, cry, and perspire before the war came to an end. Conversely, when Obama promised to end partisanship in Washington, lessen the role of lobbyists, eliminate earmarks, institute pay-as-you-go procedures, close Guantanamo in a year, or toughen border security, he might just as easily have sworn to put a garage in the cheek of a caterpillar's bazooka, because the words meant exactly the same thing, which is to say, nothing at all. So, let's get to the crap. Here's Obama during his presidential campaign describing how negotiations over health care would play out.
We will work on this process publicly. It'll be on C-SPAN. It will be streaming over the net.
Well, something sure was streaming, and I think it was crap, because Obama's promise was...
just words.
That's right. There were certainly no C-SPAN cameras present for the backroom sweetheart deals and quid pro quos that brought senators like Mary Landrieu and Carl Levin on board to a bill their constituents rejected. And of course, Congressman Bart, No Child Left Alive, Stupak, traded away his much vaunted anti-abortion principles for a toothless executive order behind closed doors. So what about that C-SPAN promise, Mr. President?
With respect to all the negotiations not being on C-SPAN, you will recall in this very room that our kickoff event was here on C-SPAN. And at a certain point, you start getting into all kinds of different meetings.
Well, that's a reasonable explanation. No, I'm joking. It's total crap. So's this.
When there's a bill that ends up on my desk as president, you, the public, will have 5 days to look online and find out what's in it before I sign it.
Crap-a-doodle-doo. In fact, after Congress passed the massive health care bill turning 1/6 of the U.S. economy over to the government and seizing powers for that government our founders never intended it should have, the president signed the budget-busting monstrosity into law less than 48 hours later. You bet it is, Joe. And hey, you stay classy. But Obama's promise...
Just words.
And how about this one?
It will reduce our deficit by more than $100 billion over the next decade and more than $1 trillion in the decade after that.
Craps-a-daisy. While the Congressional Budget Office did at one point say the bill would lower deficits, the CBO can only judge a bill on its own terms, even if it uses budgetary gimmicks and tricks to disguise its real costs. Or, as former CBO Director Douglas Holtz-Eakin put it in the leftist newspaper The New York Times, fantasy in, fantasy out. According to Holtz-Eakin, the new bill disguises its crippling costs by front-loading taxes so that 10 years of revenue pays for 6 years of expenses. It also leaves out over $100 billion in costs entirely. And of course, it assumes Congress will cut close to $500 billion from a Medicare system already bleeding red ink, which is ridiculous. There's only one way this bill can be paid for: higher taxes for everyone, probably in the form of a nationwide sales tax. But Obama has an answer for that.
If you are a family making less than $250,000 a year, you will not see your taxes go up. Not your capital gains tax, not your payroll tax, not your income tax, no tax. Your taxes will not go up.
What does that mean?
Just words.
You betcha. New taxes on cigarettes and tanning salons already affect the poor and middle class. And now Obama says he's agnostic on raising other middle class taxes. So basically, you can put your garage in the cheek of a caterpillar's bazooka because on taxes, as on health care, as on just about everything, the president is talking crap. This is Andrew Klavan on The Culture.